In this video, I'm going to show you how I hang interior doors. It's a method that I've taught my crews over the years. I call it air hanging. Yep, it's me, Ron Paulk, the sponsor of these videos. And this is the Smart Woodshop. The Smart Bench, the Smart Station. If you want to get a detailed set of plans to build a Smart Woodshop, any of my workbenches, or the accessories that work with the system, there's a link in the description of this video down below. The first step is the most critical step, and that is determining if I need to cut the jamb legs so that both of them sit tight on the floor and my header is level. There's a number of ways to do this. I have a couple of lasers. This is a laser I use for setting cabinets. And if you just drop it in, it doesn't really matter where the line is. I just want a measuring point, 35 1/8, 35 1/4. This jamb leg would be touching the floor, and this one would be around 1/8 of an inch up. I will take this jamb leg and I will take 1/8 of an inch off. If you don't have a laser or you don't want to get it out, there is really a simple way, and to be honest with you, this is the way that I use most of the time. I just have a stick to work with, then put it on one side or the other, and again, it doesn't matter which side, and then put your level on it. In this case, this is where I use my 4-footer. And then I want to level from that stick. And once I get that level, I'm gonna make a mark. And then I can take my tape measure and check this side, or I can just take my stick and put it there and see that, sure enough, I'm 1/8 of an inch taller on this side than on this side. Next, put the door in the opening and then open the door so that you're not fighting it. I just kind of kick the bottom around so that it is pretty much flush with the drywall. It's a starting point. And then I'll just move it over, just slide it over so that my fingers are touching the drywall on both sides. It may not end up completely there, but it's a good starting point. And then I go back and forth with it a little bit just to kind of center it in the opening I want. I don't want to shove it back tight. I want shim room, but I want shim room on both sides so I can move the jamb around and get the reveal just right. So once I have that sort of figured out, I'll put in a single nail. Now I'm not fighting the door. The door is actually, I'm able to swing it. And then I'll just come to the other side just to keep the jamb sort of in place. I'm gonna put a finish nail in the bottom jamb, but I might as well get it close to being plumb. It's best to check plumb for your door out on the leading edge. And I need to kick the bottom out about 1/8 of an inch. So at this point, I just have 4 nails holding the door in place. And again, this is a solid core door. It's a heavy door. Now I can start working the door for plumb and reveal and get it really close with just the nails before I start putting shims in. Now this is exactly plumb right now. That doesn't always happen. Usually when I set the bottom out to plumb, there's usually a little bit that I'll move it around, but in this case, I'm good to go. And now I'm just starting to look at my reveals, and I can see I'm tight here and wide at the bottom. This side's looking really good. I've got a little bit on the very bottom that's kicked in. That doesn't really have to do with straightening the whole jamb, just straightening the bottom out. And I'll do that after I get a few more nails in it. The other thing to do in the very beginning is to take note of your bore for your knob. What I like to do is make a mark right at the top of where the mortise is for the lock portion. And then I can see this mark to where it's cut out for the striker. You want those to line up. You can spend a lot of time getting your door plumb and reveals right, and then when you go to set hardware, if that's off, even just a little bit, your hardware won't work very well. So it's good to make note of that right now. And this is gonna work out, and it's usually gonna be right on the way it is right now. I don't have to make any adjustments because we took the time to check the floor, find the difference, and cut the jamb leg off. Now with both legs sitting tight to the floor, it's making this header level as well as lining up the hardware mortise. The next thing I want to do is make sure that I'm close in the door hitting the stop. So I can tell right from here that I'm a little bit off. If the opening is a little bit out, you can still make the door work perfectly. You got 4 corners to work with, so you can take a little bit here, a little bit there, and get it so that it's hitting that stop perfectly. I'll do that from this side of the door. With just 6 nails in place now, I have the door hung, I have it plumb, I have the hardware lined up, and it's hitting the stop continuous top to bottom. The reveals are really close. This is a stiff jamb so that as I shim, I'll be able to pull these in a little bit more. Because I just have the 3 nails in the middle here, I'll be able to pull that in a little bit. So I'll be able to get my reveals just right. I'll start now by shimming my hinge side and get to make sure the door stays plumb and the door itself is in place. And then I'll finalize by detailing out the reveals. When you're setting a door, it's important that the jamb is square. You know, you can have it twisted in the opening a little bit. And if you do that, it throws your reveals off. And I've had many a finish carpenter say, this door isn't hung very good. The reveals are off no matter how I do it. And 100% of the time I show them that they have nailed off the jamb slightly out of being square. So if the stud is off a little bit and it's not completely, and it usually won't be, when you're shimming, you just make sure that you bring this into square. And I'm watching that even with the nails when I'm air hanging it to make sure that again, the jambs aren't twisted a little bit like this, because again, that will open up the reveal on one side and tighten it on the other, so you won't get even reveals. So it's not the manufacturer of the door that built out the jamb, it's you, the finish carpenter. This is what the nails look like. So they're a 2.5 inch, 15 gauge angled nail. I tend to set my shims just below the hinges, although I've done it above as well, and I haven't really noticed the difference. I don't do it right behind just because I can't get nailing in the shim if I put it, you know, behind the hinge. The last detail is to put 1 screw in the hinge, a long screw that's going to go back into the framing. When I do this, I pick the middle screw. It's more to the inside so I can catch more wood. Also, when I put it in, I'm not pulling the hinge in. I am just simply going to set the screw. Just let it touch the hinge. Everything is shimmed in, everything is where I want it. This is just insurance. I don't want to pull the hinge at all with this. That's how I hang interior doors and have done it this way for a couple of decades. Minor variations, but pretty much what I showed you today. I don't get callbacks on doors. They don't settle or sag. They're shimmed off well. They're nailed off well. That little extra screw is just a little insurance to keep things there. The reveals are good all the way around, and the hardware lines up as well. I don't even have to worry about putting in this hardware because I made that mark and I know that everything is going to line up. It's 20 minutes per door to hang them using this method. It's closer to 12 to 15 to actually hang the door, but by the time I calculate in spreading the doors, cutting my shims, cleaning up after myself, I just figure an average of 20 minutes a door is a good average, and it's not a breakneck pace. I'm not breaking any records to do that. It's just I know that I want to give each door enough time that it's done right and I won't have any callbacks. I hope you've enjoyed this door hanging video. If you have, if you've learned anything, and if you'd like me to make more videos like this, then be sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Most important, share this video, link to this video to this channel with a friend or family or somebody you think that would really enjoy it and get something out of it. Thanks for dropping into the Smart Wood Shop. You stay safe and have a great day.